good news for veterans living in states where medical marijuana is legal. It may be that these veterans might have access to medical marijuana. Now, the House just passed a bipartisan amendment that allows VA doctors to recommend medical marijuana to their patients in states where the drug has been legalized. Now, that's awesome. Now, the vote's already passed the U.S. Senate Appropriations Committee. Now, the last time it went through, it narrowly failed in the House. But this amendment will now likely make it to the final spending bill, which is great news. Now, according to Michael Collins, Deputy Director of the Drug Policy Alliance's Office of National Affairs, says, quote, "We are all delighted to lift this outdated discriminatory policy, which has negatively impacted the lives of so many veterans. We need all options on the table to treat veterans, and finally Congress has the sense and will allow veterans to be on an equal footing to other residents of medical marijuana states." Now, this is a great step, as some researchers think that medical marijuana might actually be able to help people suffering from PTSD, specifically veterans. Now, one investigator of PTSD and cannabis is the Multidisciplinary Association for Psychedelic Studies, basically abbreviated to MAPS. Now, MAPS is a nonprofit group who has been given authorization by the DEA to study how marijuana could be an effective treatment for veterans suffering from post-traumatic stress disorder. Now, I'm not going to get into the science here because I don't understand it. I'll probably fuck it up, right? It's one of those things where it's like, don't get into something that you have no idea what the fuck you're talking about. So I'm going to avoid going into the science, but I will leave a link in the description so you more science-minded people can check it out, because we're talking about cannabinoids and receptors in your brain. Stuff kind of goes over my head, right? So, anyway, now on the Congress side, the Veterans Equal Access Amendment, which is what this is called, was led by Representative Earl Blumenauer, who has championed this issue apparently for years, and it was also co-sponsored by a bipartisan group of representatives, which is pretty nice. It's actually good to have them agree to something. And it was added on the floor to a must-pass military construction and Veterans Affairs spending bill. So, look, if it's still there, it's got a pretty good likelihood of passing. Now, the Blumenauer Amendment authorizes VA physicians and other healthcare providers to provide recommendations and opinions regarding the use of medical marijuana to veterans who live in these medical marijuana states. Now, there's also a legislative version of this amendment that was included in the Senate's Compassionate Access, Research Expansion, and Respect States Act, which is now abbreviated CAREERS. Now, and it's the first ever bill in the Senate to legalize marijuana for medical use, and the most comprehensive medical marijuana bill ever introduced to Congress. Now, this bill was introduced by Senator Cory Booker, Rand Paul, and Kirsten Gillibrand. So, hey, great. Look, this is a good first step to legalizing medical marijuana, and perhaps eventually recreational marijuana. Now, my opinion is that there's no reason for this to be Schedule 1. You know what Schedule 1 means, right? It means that it's not only dangerous, but has no medical value whatsoever. Now, that's bullshit. This is bullshit, reefer madness, ridiculousness, right? Now, saying that, I gotta mention that I don't smoke pot. I never have. I've never had an interest in doing it. But of course, I know people who do. Good people. And trust me, that when I say that the only danger they pose when smoking pot is to a large pizza. These are not dangerous people. It doesn't turn you into an axe murderer. It actually helps people calm down. It helps with pain. And there are other benefits to this that haven't even been discovered yet. So it needs to be looked at. And it's nice to see some progress out of even the Republican-controlled House on this. Now let's hope, of course, that it makes it into the spending bill, stays in there, and gets signed into law, so that we can actually go on to actually help our veterans.